Hey, Gaia. I'm back.
So I see what is on your mind.
Beta's convinced we won't be able to capture Hephaestus. With that attitude, do you really think she'll be able to build the rig and pulse generators?
It may take some coaxing, but with some assistance I am confident she will.
I don't get her, Gaia. She's so quick to assume we'll fail. She's nothing like what I thought she'd be. I guess it'll be best if she stays here when we go to Gemini. How's Kotallo doing?
I have detected that the loss of his arm still deeply pains him. In an effort to remedy this, I have discussed a potential solution with him. I believe he will want to fill you in on the details.
A solution? I'll check in with him when I can, then. So now that you have Aether, Demeter, and Poseidon, how's the biosphere looking?
In the local region, conditions have improved. Superstorms have subsided, water sources have been purified, and soil conditions remediated. These improvements will stave off environmental collapse for a few additional months.
Well, with luck, soon you'll have Hephaestus. Then you'll be able to fix the biosphere for good, right?
Correct. I will be able to design and produce robotic agents to permanently reverse the environmental damage that has accumulated.
All this data I've picked up in ancient bunkers and ruins. I guess I never really thought that other people would be looking at it.
Based on my observations, your companions engage quite frequently with this material. Erend has asked on numerous occasions about birthday parties. He appears perplexed by the tradition of serving a sweet confection, as it conflicts with the Oseram tradition of serving sparkling stout ale. He also suggested we host a party for you, as a surprise.
Yeah, no thanks.
That is what I predicted.
Is Kotallo getting along with everyone?
Yes, though he prefers to spend most of the time alone. He appears to be collating data on War Machine progression and significant battles during the Pharaoh Plague, to aid in the creation of a war map of Operation Enduring Victory. I believe he aims to study the tactics of Old World warfare.
I'd be interested in seeing that.
It appears to be a private pastime for him. He has repeatedly declined my offers to assist his research.
The processor Aether was installed on was part of an ancient war museum, a memorial to something called the Hot Zone Crisis. Do you know anything about it?
My knowledge of historical events was unfortunately lost with the Apollo database. However, climate data indicates a peak in regional temperatures in the 2030s. Such conditions would see extreme, prolonged droughts, an increase in dust storms, and a loss of habitable landmass.
But they wouldn't have built a museum in the middle of a wasteland. So I guess things got better eventually.
Yes. Data suggests that temperatures return to average levels in the clawback era of the 2040s.
I found some data in one of the rooms you unlocked. It mentioned that there are still functional seed banks beneath this facility. Why is it there?
My predecessor was tasked with reconstituting the biosphere with primary and secondary plant species. Had everything gone according to plan, humans would have eventually been able to introduce tertiary species, including new crops.
Can we access them now?
Unfortunately, it will have to wait. I require control over the machines in order to access and distribute the preserved seed stock.
And for that we need Hephaestus. It's something to look into later then. So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
There's something I've been wondering. How could Ted Faro create a clearance level higher than Alpha? Elizabeth made sure he wouldn't interfere with the project.
It is plausible he tasked his own engineers with creating a backdoor to the Zero Dawn system, without Elizabeth's knowledge. My predecessor did not even know of its existence until he activated it to purge the Apollo database. It is, in effect, a blind spot, one that will allow us to subdue Hephaestus. And fortunately, thanks to Beta's information, we know where Omega clearance may be procured.
Right. Somewhere in San Francisco. So our plan to capture Hephaestus. Let's go over it again.
As you wish. Thanks to Beta's test, we now know that Hephaestus will not respond to your Alpha clearance, which is why you will need to procure Ted Faro's Omega clearance.
Right. From his personal bunker, Thebes.
While you are gone, I will assist Beta in building the transport rig and pulse generators. When we get to Gemini, I will need to be installed on one of the facility's cores. The second core is for Hephaestus. Using Omega clearance will allow you to trap it.
And then you'll be able to absorb it.
Not quite. You will need to manually remove Hephaestus's malicious code before the merge.
How long will that take?
There are calculations I still must run, but I estimate a few hours.
And during that time, the others will create a distraction for us using the pulse generators, right?
Correct. They will each take position at a cauldron door and fire off their device. The energy surge should mask our activities until the merge is complete.
And then we'll have everything we need to defeat the Zeniths. Sounds like a plan. The Zeniths. Gerard, Eric, Tilda, Verbena. Beta said they were some of the most powerful people on Earth. I think Elizabeth knew one of them. Tilda. Did she ever mention her to you?
No. Elizabeth often spoke of her work, or told stories of her mother and her childhood. If she knew this Tilda, she did not disclose it with me. What we can conclude from your and Beta's experiences is that the Zeniths are ruthless in pursuit of their goal. To protect life on Earth, they must be stopped.
The missing subordinate functions. What can you tell me about them?
Artemis rewilded the Earth with a variety of animal species. Eleuthia was responsible for gestating, nurturing, and acculturating a new generation of human beings. Apollo was tasked with preserving, organizing, and disseminating vast archives of human knowledge and cultural achievements. Unfortunately, All archived Apollo data was purged on the 2nd of February, 2066, by order of Ted Faro.
Pharaoh, huh? I really hate that guy.
Understandable. He appears to have been pathologically narcissistic, impulsive, and unstable.
All three of the missing functions have already served their purpose, or were prevented from doing so. Do you still need them?
Restoring their remaining elements would increase my heuristic processing density, empowering my overall function. Unfortunately, as we now know they are in the possession of Far Zenith, attaining them in the short term is very likely impossible.
I guess our best shot at recovering them is by taking over the Zenith base. But we'll need Hephaestus and a bunch of combat machines to do that.
Correct.
So Poseidon spent the last 20 years hiding out in Las Vegas. From the data I found, it seems the city had an advanced water reclamation system. Is that why Poseidon went there?
Most likely. In an effort to protect itself, Poseidon sought out a safe harbor where it could access water supply functions. There, buried and encased in a protective dome, it could guard against any threats.
Like 3 Oseram showmen?
I suspect that was not the first time it felt the need to repel trespassers.
Have you been able to make use of Demeter's functions?
Yes. I was able to mitigate most soil conditions and restore a temporary balance. You should notice less rampant plant growth in the area.
Maybe that'll give Plainsong's fields a chance to recover.
Unfortunately, recovery in that area is unlikely without the assistance of the Utaru's land gods. I have discussed this matter with Zoe. I believe we may have a workaround.
Yeah, I'm helping her out with that. You mentioned that the superstorms have subsided. Is that Ether at work?
Yes. Thanks to Ether's capabilities, weather patterns in the local region should mostly stabilize for the time being.
That'll be a relief for the Tenakth. One of their villages is still recovering after a mudslide caused the whole place to flood.
I will continue to stabilize the atmosphere for as long as I can.
There's something I'm still trying to figure out. Why was Demeter using flying machines to distribute metal flowers?
In its deranged state, Demeter was defending itself against a robotic swarm that would devour all plant life.
It thought the Pharaoh Plague was still happening?
It feared it would come again. As part of its directive of receding Earth's vegetation, it sought to protect plant life at all costs. And considering it had 20 years to proliferate, I expect you will continue to find the fruits of its efforts for some time.
It's a good thing I have the code to dissolve the vines, then. Why did Ether take up residence in an ancient war museum?
As with the other subordinate functions, Ether needed to install itself on a processor with adequate storage and power. The one in the museum appears to have been sufficient, given that the holographic displays were still active.
So Ether was assured it could stay for as long as it needed to.
Correct. Though it is curious that it chose a place surrounded with the ancient ruins of aircraft.
Maybe it also felt at home there. I should be going.
Goodbye, Aloy.
like hearing me butcher Utaru.
I sure don't. You sound like a dying long leg.
Aloy, there are more supplies in the chest. Help yourself.
Looks like Erend and Katalo moved their stuff in. Plugging in that power cell downstairs must have turned on these holograms. Got a minute?
As many as you need.
I have to travel beyond the western coast.
To the ruins, shrouded in fog.
Yes, and I'm looking for a tribe, the Quen. I encountered them once before. They said they came from across the Great Ocean. I was hoping that Tenakth knew more about them.
There were rumors of trespassers in the area, but we thought they were just bandits. Hekarro sent out a patrol or two, but I don't recall them reporting back. We've had more pressing concerns, as you know. I'm sorry. That's all I can tell you.
It's okay. I guess I'll find out soon enough.
There is something I've been meaning to discuss with you. It's personal. If you have a moment to spare.
You said there was something you wanted to talk about?
I've been speaking with Gaia. She mentioned that the Zeniths bind metal with flesh to make themselves stronger. I was wondering if you'd help me do the same.
You want to make yourself a new arm?
Yes. Gaia insists she can help me build such a thing if I can get the necessary data and materials. She believes these things lie in the place where Beta hid from the Zeniths.
Their ancient research lab.
I am not as familiar with old world machinery as you are. I could use your assistance.
It might be dangerous. The Zeniths probably still keep an eye on that place. We were lucky to get out of there alive the first time.
I see.
It sounds like this is worth the risk.
By the 10, we shall see it through.
Now that you know who the enemy is, do you have any questions?
I'll admit, I find them hard to grasp. From the heavens. And invulnerable.
For now.
I will leave the strategy to you. I trust you will point my blade where it will cut the deepest.
I heard my friend Talana came by the base. Did you get a chance to meet her?
Briefly. A bold woman going into Tenakth territory with that Karja armor of hers. She'll be lucky if my people don't shoot her on sight.
She'll be careful. She's just looking for someone who might need her help.
Whoever it is, they better be worth dying for.
What are you looking at over there?
The others have been helping me decipher the symbols the Focus shows me. So, I thought I'd try to understand the weapon you intend to use against the enemy. This Hephaestus, it will be able to make machines? That answer to Gaia?
Yes.
How many?
As many as we need.
Such power. Has the world ever seen the like?
You've had some time with the team now. Any thoughts?
I admit I was surprised to see Nutaru here. Farmers don't make for effective soldiers.
I'm told she rallied some in her tribe against the Karja, and fought all the way to Barren Light.
Interesting. Perhaps I'm mistaken.
You said the Bulwark was your home a long time ago. That you were part of the Sky Clan.
Yes.
That's all you're gonna tell me?
Fine. As you wish. My parents were killed in a clan skirmish, so I was raised by my squad. As I grew older, I came to be known as an accomplished fighter. Tekote took a special interest in me. I fought by his side against the Karja, and led my squad on a dangerous climb into the Daunt. It was I who opened the gates at Barren Light from the east side, allowing the Tenakth to raise it.
That must have gotten you some attention.
Indeed. I was welcomed home as a hero, and I was content.
Then why'd you leave?
I became a marshal.
Why did you leave the Sky Clan to become a marshal?
I was sent to the Kulrut by Tekote. Back then, I would have obeyed his every order. I believed in him, like one would a father. I was too blind to see the fear in his eyes. Fear of a rising young warrior challenging his command of the clan. I returned a hero from the battle at Barren Light. But to him, I was only a threat. Never occurred to him that I had no interest in rising above my station.
When we were at the Bulwark, the guard said something about the Wings of the Ten. Hikaru also mentioned it at the Kulrut. Dekka, too. What does it mean?
The visions tell us that the Ten flew on great metal machines with wings, and leapt into battle from the sky. For us, to imitate this feat is the ultimate expression of martial prowess, and it is why the challengers leap into the arena during the Kulrut. Many times I imagined it as a child. The feeling of freedom, and the awe it must have inspired.
Why did Tekote think you wouldn't be a threat to him if he sent you to the Kulrut?
Tekote knew that if I survived the Kulrut, I'd be forced to forsake the clan to serve the Tenakth as a whole. I'd never be allowed to challenge his command, even if I wanted to. After our victory at Barren Light, Tekote spoke to our people, said it would be selfish to rob Hikaru and the marshals of a warrior like myself. Even though he knew perfectly well I had no intention of ever leaving. It was exile, guised as an honor. One he knew I couldn't refuse. So I became a marshal, and never looked back.
I'm sorry you had to go through that.
I am not. Though it pained me at the time, a marshal is what I was destined to be.
What did Chief Hikaru say when you told him he'd be joining me here?
You spilt rebel blood at the Grove, and helped reunite the clans. There was little more to be said. He understood.
Well, I'm honored he lent me his best marshal. At least for a little while.
Indeed.
You said you were training with the Focus?
That's right. I've been watching holograms of your first fight with the Zenith Spectres. They are faster and more agile than any machines I've faced before. How many do the Zeniths have?
I'm not sure. Probably a lot.
I would not wish to face them en masse.
I'm with you there. Have you had a chance to speak with Varl?
Briefly. He fought well against Regalla's troops at Barren Light. Are all Nora as skilled as the two of you?
I'm not exactly one of them. But anyway, the Nora can hold their own. They managed to push the Karja from their lands.
I thought my tribe was the only one to have done that. Impressive.
Must be strange, seeing everything through a focus now.
I can see machines like never before. Their strengths and weaknesses simply reveal themselves to me. To think that such a tiny object might be the most powerful weapon I've ever possessed.
Does it still hurt?
It comes and goes. I try not to think about it, but its absence is always present for me. It's difficult to explain.
I can't claim to understand. Only empathize.
Then you have my thanks.
Have you spoken with Erend at all?
I've had little chance to. I did see him bring some ale from out east.
That stuff's as bitter as self-brush.
You get used to it, eventually. In fact, I wouldn't mind a drink myself.
I'm sure Erend wouldn't mind sharing. What do you think of this place? It must take some getting used to.
It's an efficient center of operations, and an acceptable training facility. Though it could use some more color.
Duly noted. What have you been up to?
Varl has asked to learn the differences between my people's clans, so I've been teaching him Tenakth history. It is heavy with blood and death, but also with honorable deeds and vanquished tyrants. Maybe you'd like to hear about it as well, when our mission is done.
I'd be honored. Anything interesting happen while I was away?
I found an acceptable place to practice with my blade.
Oh, and where's that?
Outside, above the base. There's a nest of sunwings that are always up for a fight.
Ever thought of sparring with something that's not trying to kill you?
That would defeat the purpose of the training.
What do Tenakth do to relax? You know, to take a break from training?
We play strike. Your Oseram friend, Erend, is surprisingly good at it, although he has yet to beat me. It helps one think strategically, hones the mind for tactics.
Somehow that still sounds like training. Found anything interesting during your training?
Gaia told me where to find data on how wars were waged in the old world. I knew the Ten fought against machines, much as we do now, but it seems they were among the last of their kind. Later, machines battled other machines on behalf of greedy leaders, as they vied for lands and spoils. At least the Tenakth have the courage to put their lives on the line when conflicts arise.
There is nobility in that. But maybe we just need fewer conflicts in the first place.
Yes, of course. Hekarro would have it so as well.
Getting Ether out of the Grove made for quite a spectacle.
One that showed the entire tribe that Hekarro's mission for peace is the correct path, for it is now blessed by the Ten themselves.
Anything else you've been looking at with that focus?
Gaia showed me the knowledge you recovered out in the desert. I am no chaplain, but I'd be curious to test if something I read is true.
What is it?
The Old Ones believed one could hear the great waters, even in the middle of the desert, if you carried the carcass of a water animal with you. They called them seashells.
That sounds kind of gross. I should get going. I've got a long road ahead.
Should you need reinforcements?
I know who to call. I'll call you when I'm near the Zenith lab. We'll get what you need for that new arm of yours.
Thank you, Aloy.
Aloy, I hear you're going further west past the Tenakth clanlands.
Do you know anything about the area?
Only hearsay. The Utaru tell stories of an island that lies beyond the western coast. They call it the Isle of Spires. It is said the Old Ones built towers there that touch the sky, so they could live far away from the earth that bore them. As if they didn't want to be reminded that they'd one day return to it.
Sounds like something Ted Faro would do. How much have you read on Ted Faro?
Enough to wonder how a man who worked so hard to heal the world once could let greed and pride condemn it so easily. For one spirit to diminish in such a way, I'm not sure if I should hate him or pity him.
Have you met Kotallo yet?
Yes, but he has kept to himself. Tenakth don't have much use for us outsiders. You must have made quite the impression for him to offer his fealty.
It looked like you were working on something over there.
With Gaia now growing in strength, I've been trying to find a way to heal the land gods, even if some people think I should give up on them.
Already said I was sorry.
Your friend thought it'd be a good idea to replace the land gods with new machines when Gaia recovers.
It wasn't.
The land gods have taken care of our people for generations. They are not some broken toy to be thrown away. Even if they are just machines doing their job, to abandon them in their time of suffering seems cruel.
I'm sure Varl understands that too.
He does now. I had to get pretty mad at him at first, though.
You know I can hear you guys, right?
You ever play that board game Aaron set up?
Strike? I'm the one who gave it to him. I was hoping it'd distract him enough to spare us that ruckus he calls death metal. No such luck.
You and Varl doing okay? Training, I mean.
We're doing fine. Although I admit it'd be nice to take a small break from studying, just the two of us. But then who'd look after Erend?
There's always Kotallo.
Leave a loud Oseram with a brooding Tenakth. What could go wrong?
What's everyone been up to?
I've been trying to share some of my meals with Beta. Thought it might help her feel more at home. Maybe even get her to sleep up here instead of in that dark basement. She would not be moved.
I appreciate you trying.
Patience reaps the best harvest. I'm not giving up hope yet.
Any progress with your plan for the land gods? Is the reboot code ready?
It is. But there is difficult work ahead. Gaia warned me that because the land gods are linked together in a network, the code must be delivered to all of them. Most are in Plainsong, but in recent years, 3 of them wandered off. So, T, and Do.
We have to find them?
No, we know where they are, but they're hard to reach. So, wandered into a lake and sank. Do ventured into a dangerous canyon, and T broke down amidst a herd of machines.
Okay. Tell you what. You go to Plainsong, handle all the land gods there. I'll take care of So, T, and Do. I'll need their locations, plus the reboot code.
I'm sending the data to you now. My people made shrines near where each land god faltered. When you see them, you'll know you're close. And once again, thanks for your help.
We're not gonna let your people starve, Zo. I promise. Well, I should get going. Hopefully I can bring back what we need to capture Hephaestus. After that, I'm gonna need everyone's help.
We'll be ready.
Aloy, you're here. Did you meet with the Quen already?
Not yet.
After all the trouble you went through getting those sub-functions, seems unfair you have to deal with these Quen on your own too.
It's safer this way. They think I'm Sobek, or something like that. They won't hurt me, but I doubt they'll be so kind to anyone else.
If you say so. Let me know if you need anything before you go.
Did Katalo find his way here?
Zoe picked out a room for him. He's kept to himself for the most part.
He's not much of a talker.
So I've noticed. Tried paying my respects for those who fell when we were ambushed at the embassy. Told him I'd never seen anyone throw themselves at a machine like he did. He said a warrior shouldn't be praised for fulfilling their duty. For a second I thought I was talking to my mother. Never thought a Tenakth and a Nora war chief could have so much in common.
You better not be slacking off on your studies while I'm gone.
And risk Zoe coming after me? I value my life. In fact, I've been reading about Ted Faro. How he destroyed the world and crawled into a hole after killing those who saved it.
He definitely was a piece of work. So, you and Zoe got into a bit of a fight, huh? Should have known better than to suggest Hephaestus could make new land gods to replace the old ones in Plainsong.
The last thing I wanted to do was dismiss their traditions. But I was trying to look at things differently. More like you know? To see a machine as just a machine.
Yeah, I guess I led you into trouble there, didn't I?
Not your fault. Don't worry.
If I get Omega clearance, and then we grab Hephaestus, we might finally have the advantage over the Zeniths.
Can't wait to see their faces as they stare down a bunch of charging Thunderjaws.
Better them than us, for once. Looks like things between you and Zoe are better now.
I suffered through a few hours of glaring silence. Then she seemed to move on. Sort of. How do people do this? How do I know if the next thing I say won't blow up in my face? What if an apology is not enough next time?
You give her a stuffed animal?
You're the worst. You know that?
What makes you think I know anything about any of this? You're on your own.
Abandoning me again, huh? Well, if she kills me next time, it's on you.
Well, Beta and Gaia built the rig. Can you get everyone ready for the mission ahead?
Of course.
What is it?
Nothing. It's just that everything's about to change. We'll get Gaia, and she'll help us set things right. No more Zeniths, no more derangement. It'll be a different world. I welcome it, but I wonder how the Nora will react. And the Karja, and well, everyone.
Let's just focus on fixing Gaia for now.
You're right. We've got an angry AI to take down.
I'll be in touch if I need anything.
We'll be ready. Everyone's been briefed on the pulse generators as well.
Good.
I'm quite certain that it's a unique...
That's just I hear about you going west.
Turns out we need one last thing before we can grab Hephaestus.
Because it would have been too easy otherwise.
Bet you're used to that focus by now.
Well, I can hit machines in their weak points. I guess that's something. I wish all the other data was as easy to deal with. Now, to be honest, it's hard to understand half of what's on there. And then the other half reminds me, this isn't a fight you can win by just waving a hammer. Which is kind of what I do. But hey, that just means I gotta study harder. Make myself useful.
Just give it time. I found out who's running the Sons of Prometheus. A woman named Sarah.
Oh no. Remember how Durval had a band of freebooters that retaliated against the Karja? She was one of them. First female tinker in the claim to run her own forge. But when her family got killed in the Red Raids, she went bad. Real bad. I thought she was dead, though. Taken out by one of Murad's guys.
Well, she's not. And she wants revenge against the Karja. We have to find out where she's operating from, and stop her.
I haven't had any luck finding someone with a focus at chain scrapes, so I'll be scouting out Baron Light next.
I'll keep tracking her lackeys out west.
We'll find her. We have to. It's thugs like her who murdered my sister.
I made a new friend while I was getting ether.
Yeah, I've seen him. Katalo's a broody fella. You do know the Karjas say these Tanakh drink people's blood?
You shouldn't believe everything you hear.
Yeah. Well, I guess if you trust him, so do I.
You've been looking at any interesting data?
Yeah, I asked Gaia to find me something to look at a while back. And she found the mother of all forges. They called it sports. Turns out the old ones spent a lot of time tackling and punching each other for points in one game or another. Are you mixing some solid food and fresh ale? I bet half the claim will be lining up to watch.
Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe asked us to help her bring more plants in here. Not for eating, apparently. Yeah, if you ask me, the place is fine as it is. You know, metal might be plain, but it's sturdy. Nothing wrong with that. Who needs a bunch of vegetation?
How are things with Katalo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I asked if it'd be interested in playing a game of Strike. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it. I need to get going.
I think I know the answer, but are you sure you don't need any help? Gaia mentioned this other tribe you found, the Quen. They sound like a nasty bunch.
I can handle them. In the meantime, Varl will help you get ready for what comes next.
Take care of yourself, Aloy.
When I met Hekarro, I figured he was just another bloodthirsty warlord. But Fashav was right. Hekarro wants peace. It won't be easy. But with his new marshals, maybe his vision has a chance. Beta's so frustrating. I don't get how she can be so negative all the time. I mean, we're clones of the same woman, and yet she couldn't be more different from Elizabeth.
Is it me or did the old ones just look funny?
Funny how?
Yeah, they're close. They're weird. They're so tight.
Holograms. Gaia, I thought you said the data here was lost.
I was able to repurpose the equipment to store the data you have acquired in your travels.